we're on record now, everybody, so we're being recorded. I'm admitting all. Okay, it's Kathleen and Heidi.
So we're good?
We are good. Let me just do, okay. Yeah, we're good, they're in.
Okay, welcome whoever else has joined us. We started our meeting as noticed at 6:30. We had to go into a closed session for advice from counsel, possible litigation, and we came out just a little bit ago at 7:30. Took a minute or so to grab a glass of water, and we're ready to continue with the scheduled agenda. We just have one thing on the agenda, or we have a couple of things. One is the approval of bills, and then we'll go into code. After approval of bills, if there's any questions on, I guess, anything, we'll just open it up to the public and then go into, start talking code update again. So let's roll. Lynn, if you want to.
Okay, I move to approve batch number 5742 for the total of amount of $51,054.22.
I will second that. Any discussion?
A little bit of discussion, Marie, when I came in after you, there was one that you need to sign.
Okay.
And I put a tag on it, that's all.
Okay. All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Okay, so public comment time, if anyone has anything out there in the public land that you would like to ask, or now is the time.
There's a couple of other people just coming in, okay. So a couple of other people just came in. I don't see any hands up. So as long as I don't see any hands up, I guess nobody has any comment.
Okay. All right, so as we have been, we've been trying to do as much code update review as we can, and I've been pushing that. We're into a heavy chapter, 134, which is zoning. So we're going to continue with that now, and we won't be taking any public comment at this point, as I've stated many times, and will be stating in the future. Everyone will be able to comment and have ample opportunity to once the board does a full review of it at public hearings. So that said, let's continue with 134.
Okay.
That's where we're on, right? Or we're not going.
Zoning.
That's where we're on 71. I have not heard back from John yet for the questions I sent, and I will follow up with that tomorrow. So we're on to 134. Let me see.
Where are we on this chapter?
Good question.
Where are we? We were in the middle of a bunch of definitions, which I think we probably did not get back from, who was it we were asking for definition, Marie?
Marie was going to go over them, trying to square stuff away as best she could, and then she was going to contact Ted Fink.
Right.
Yep. I spoke with Ted Fink. I called him on Friday. I sent him an email on Saturday. He left me a message. He sent me an email yesterday. We spoke today. He's going to have time next week to take a look at it.
Okay.
Okay. So at this point, I think we were talking about building heights. So should we go in that general direction?
Yes.
Which
And I think
is,
building heights we started discussing them in the B1, I believe. Is that when we started
I thought we were beyond that. We had talked about setbacks in B2 and B3, which would have been beyond B1, would have been beyond, yes.
okay, but Dave sent in a thing on building heights today on Main Street. Do we want to back up into that, or do we want to move forward?
I would like to straighten out the heights. Now that Marie and I went back and forth a bit, I think we agree on where the definition and how the definition is written gives a clearer I wasn't sure where that was, so we went back. It's in the definition, so it applies for every zone. And we can go with that. So it, like in the B, I think we were fine in the B or in the R1. And the
So I'm,
B1
I'm seeing building heights in page 25. It is 134. See if I can do this without bouncing all over the place. It's in the B1, 134.9F, which talks about building heights, where I think the question was. It was 134.9F, and then my screen goes nuts.
Yeah.
Building height is 40 feet in B1 for those situations where someone wishes to construct a 3-story building on Main Street in B1.
Okay, and that was the question. Do we want to leave it at 40 feet? Do we want to?
What was that changed from 35 feet to 40 feet into 3 stories, Marie, or what was the change there?
It was in B1.
Mhm.
If it's not a 3-story building, the building height is 35 feet. For a 3-story building, the building height goes to 40 feet.
But was that a change, or was that how it originally was?
Currently, the way the code reads for B1 is the maximum height is 2 stories or 35 feet.
Okay.
The code update recommended the permission for 3 stories in Main Street buildings in B1 with some caveats about what the 3rd story could and could not do. And then the height for that was identified as 40 feet. So in B1 on Main Street, for new construction or extension of a current building from 2 stories to 3 stories, then the height limit is 40 feet.
So in the definition, so everyone's clear on this, and a couple of things. In the definition, if it's a gable roof or a gambrel roof, pitched roof, it goes to the median height, has to be 40 feet. So a building, there are a number of buildings that have roofs on them. C&E Paint, for one, that building, which also has the gable end is facing the road. And a number of them are like Garden Cafe. So those buildings with roofs like that will exceed that, because the median height is the height, which is 40. Yeah. So they could go to 45 feet. I'm not sure exactly what they could be. They could extend higher.
Yeah, the code does not, the way the code is written, there are a number of structures on Main Street in the B1 district that exceed 35 feet today.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right. So they're grandfathered.
Right.
All right. It's what we were trying to do in the code update was to permit 3-story buildings as of right, as long as the height for the 3-story building, given the building comma height of definition in 134-2 would be 40 feet. And you're right, Dave, it's 40 feet for flat roofs and for gambrel roofs, and the way the height definition is stated, the 40 feet would go to different points in a roof.
And what was the rationale for wanting to bring things to 3 stories? Because there's a lot of sections of Main Street that aren't that high, that if somebody wanted to, once we pass this, would really be out of place, but they would have the right to build it. I mean, the areas like between Furnace and Kemble, for instance, if somebody wanted to build a 3-story building there, I think that would not be a good place for it.
Okay, so let's take between Furnace and Kemble. Mm-hmm. There are some 3-story buildings already in existence. Yeah. For example, right, but as an example, the building that is currently occupied by a Shakespeare Festival, That's a two-story building. That could go to a three-story building. It is a standalone building. It is not adjacent to any others. The owner of that building could, if they wanted to, go up another story.
Right. And they could also do that to the Pierre's next to that, and our friend's antique shop, and also Lily and Mosier's, and also the corner, Hudson Hills. They could all, one of those could build a three-story, 40-foot high building.
Correct, as long as they didn't, as long as the erection of the third floor did not permit free air movement into an adjacent building or blocked light from an adjacent building. There are some caveats as to what the third story can or cannot do.
And so so why would we want to do this? Why do we want a three-story building? Why do we want to add more residents to Main Street, and a street that we already have parking problems with?
The idea was that a couple-fold. The additional story could be used as additional residences or enlargement of current residences. It could also be used for office space. It could be used for second floor shopping. There are a number of uses that could occur in the second or third floor for a building that is currently only one story, or which could go to three, or is two stories, which could go to three.
So so if we take out the, I realize a lot of buildings have 3 stories on the grandfathered in, but I'm not sure that I want everybody else to just sort of jump on, not that everybody will. But if say, for example, one of the buildings on Main Street comes down, the Shakespeare building or Lillian's building or something like that, somebody could then legally build a 3-story building on that lot,
Yes.
provided they don't block whatever on the side. I'm very happy with the 2.5 stories, which is pretty much throughout the village at this point.
Yeah, but this is just in B1.
Right,
We're not,
but the rest
permitting-
the rest of the village is pretty much limited to 2.5 stories. Am I correct? At least the R1.
currently R1 limit is 35 feet
Right,
and
Okay.
2 stories, two and a half stories.
2.5 stories. Right.
There are a number of 3-story buildings in the village in R1.
Okay, so are we trying to say that because these can be grandfathered, then we just want everybody to be able to do the same thing? Or are we fine saying leave the old ones the way they are and let's stick to our 2.5 stories, 35 feet?
The idea was that by permitting construction up to 3 stories, what we would achieve on Main Street is additional space for shopping and or offices and or residences.
Can we add something to that that says if you're going to be adding another story, you need to have additional parking to accommodate
Right.
another residence?
Currently, in the parking table, which is in 134-17, it identifies the number of parking spaces that are required for all districts and for all uses in all districts.
Yeah, you would get a waiver, Fran. Everybody gets a waiver. There's
Right,
no
and they would have to pay for it, which is, yeah.
you didn't have parking.
You know, if the building has parking behind that can accommodate another floor, I wouldn't be so upset, but if there's no parking behind, I'm not sure I want to just let people add on. So that's sort of my 2 cents on that. I guess it can go to public hearing and see what everybody else says on that.
Well, you might also be able to get 3 stories in a 35-foot building. It's not impossible.
Right, and that's what you showed when you sent that, yeah.
I'm sorry, that is not permitted by the current code. The current code is 35 feet, 2.5 stories.
I know, we're writing new codes. That's what I'm saying. It could be possible that we said 3 stories could be 35 feet
Yeah, easily. Flat roof on it. There you go.
with a flat roof on.
So if we keep the 35 feet, we can still allow a third story. So do we want to limit to 2.5? Do we want to limit to 35 feet?
I
It's
personally want to keep it at 2.5 stories.
It's currently 2.5, 35.
35.
That
right.
is the current, code.
And I'm good with keeping that.
Him too.
I agree.
Again, this was something that the code update recommended.
Okay.
So
Lynn, you're
do we-
feeling any?
So do
Yeah,
we,
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I'm just one thing that's kind of nagging me in the back of my head is that, we shouldn't necessarily feel bad about more residents on Main Street. Walkable cities actually tend to be greener cities. So that's all I wanted to say. They, other than, the alternative would be sprawl, more dependent on cars. So, but I have no problem with this. This is fine.
you have
I'm sorry.
no problem?
With what?
Yeah, which way?
With keeping it the way it is now, 40 feet for 3 stories and 35 feet for 2.5.
Okay, so Marie and Lynn, it sounds like you're on the same page. Steve, Fran and I would like to leave it as is, 2.5 stories maximum, 35 feet.
So how do we mark that for public comments, or how do we do that?
Your role is to agree or disagree with what the code update committee recommended.
So we're 3-2 against what they recommended.
Okay,
Wait a
So
minute.
that means take it out?
I will take care of that.
Okay. Okay, in the next section, as we move down to G, there's a whole bunch of stuff that was taken out basically with signs. Do we want
I'm
to leave
sorry.
all that?
Where are you at, Fran?
I'm at right below where we were just talking. So we were just talking about F. I'm still in B1, G, supplemental regulations applying to B1 general business district. And
We did this.
okay, is that all coming out? Definitely the sign stuff? We agreed to take that out?
I'm trying to find it.
Because if we agree to take it out, I'll just pull it out. It's page 26. It is 134, I believe, 9G.
I'm still trying to find it.
Okay,
25 and 26.
right.
I'm still trying to find it.
I don't remember. If we agreed to take it out, then I'm just gonna like agree to it and.
No,
take it
no,
out.
please.
Okay.
Let me find it.
Yes, no, I'll wait.
I'm almost there. Okay, 134.9, what now?
G.
Jesus Christ, it just got me it got me out of the dock.
I.
Oh, shoot. Now it has to load. Wait a minute. Okay. Almost there.
Okay.
Supplementary regulations.
The
On
sign.
this one, I'm sorry. On this one, I needed to insert 134.9. I needed to insert C 104. I'll take care of that tomorrow.
Okay, and then we'll get rid of all that stuff.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Okay, so then we move down.
We were at 134.10 F.
Okay, so we have the signs 10B, C, D. Okay, how about D? We were talking about the front yardage. This is this is B2, designated shopping. We didn't agree on whether we're gonna go from frontage from 60 to 10. Did we decide where we're going with that?
So I think I sent everybody, I went over and measured, and this isn't totally accurate, might be a little off. Right now, the F&T Bank is 110 feet from the sidewalk. The nest, I forget what I put on that, 68?
And that's 65. Now, is that B?
It's
Two or-
B3,
That's
B3.
B3. This is B2. We're talking about the food town.
We agreed that it wasn't going to change.
Okay, so we're not going, so we're gonna leave the food town at 60. So we're gonna take that out. We're gonna take that out. Okay, so now we're down to B3. And the
So B3 had the same
information with the,
recommendation.
right. Now, let me get there before my screen jumps all over the place.
To go
Okay,
down
that's
from 10 to
3411. It is, so the recommendation was to change from 60 feet to 10 feet. That's in 13411D. So if currently the bank is at 110 and we're allowing them to come forward another 50 feet.
Sorry,
I
the
don't really
cur-
want to go to 10.
the current code allows them to come forward 50 feet. The
Right.
current code.
Yes, the current code. And we're asking them to be able to come forward 100 feet.
Yep.
And that I'm not in agreement with that. I don't know about anybody else.
I want to leave it as is. I made my argument as far as,
And then the nest is about 65 feet, so that would be about where the bank would end up, about the same in.
Yeah.
Anybody else, 60 or 10?
I go with 10.
Yeah, I like 60. Those look good.
Lynn?
I like the space there.
Okay, so we go with, keep it 60 at this point?
Hmm.
Code update committee's gonna hate us after all their
Yes.
hard work.
Yes, indeed, they will.
I know, but
I hope not. I think they're intelligent people. I don't think they'll hate us,
yeah,
They're intelligent people. That's why they came up with the recommendations that they did.
right? And
and they knew it was gonna come before us, and we may be voted down with public
No.
comments too.
Sorry, the public will never see the recommendations from the CUC. By deleting it, they don't see them.
but we're supposed to be, all the changes are supposed to be also made so that they can be seen.
No, the changes are changes from the current code.
Not the
So
suggestion.
if we delete the changes, they'll never see the recommendations. Is there a way? Well, so how do we bring that up to the,
They got to read the code. If people are interested, they're gonna have to read it. Just like
It won't appear anywhere.
yeah, they'll see it at 60, unless somebody comes across and says, I don't like the 60, just out of the blue, then that's what it's gonna be.
I thought all our recommendations were supposed to be captured somewhere.
Well, we're talking about them now, right? And they're
Yeah, I
they're
mean,
able
they're,
to look at this
Right.
stuff.
so we get to yay or nay their recommendations.
And that's what goes forward to the public hearing.
So we're in the next, okay. So it's up to the, if somebody from the code update committee comes to the public hearing, they hopefully will question that if they want to question it and see what the public has to say. Okay, we're at, yeah,
I don't think there's many things in this whole, all the documents that we've disagreed with.
no, we've been pretty much online with what they
We
said,
might
just,
change some wording and stuff, but I don't think we've outright disagreed on very much.
all right.
I would. Okay, if that's what, if that, I don't have any, I haven't been keeping track, so I can't agree or disagree with you.
I mean, it's hard. This is how it's supposed to work. We're supposed to review this. If the code update committee doesn't want us to review it, then then I think there's a problem with that also. We're reviewing what was suggested by you know.
I mean, this is the part of the process. If in a future time someone wants to change it, we can always amend the code at any time.
And well, we don't, and also people can get zoning, you can go for variances. Somebody wants to build on that property and says, the daycare center right next to it, Timmons's is 60 feet. I would like to build something here that's 60 feet. I think that's within reason, and somebody could do that. I think if somebody wants to build down on Main Street and wants to put 3 floors up or wants to exceed 35 feet, they can go for a variance and say, there's a building, there's the property between Jeff Gonzaga's and what's the Old Souls. If somebody wanted to build in that lot and went and wanted to build bigger, higher than what we have in our code, they could go for a variance there. And I think they would be within their rights, and I think that it would probably be granted because, why wouldn't you? So I think that, people have, they have recourse. It's not like they're strapped to any one thing. And as soon as we're out of office or whatever, somebody can come along and change that in the next day. If they
This is
want
true.
to.
This is true. Okay, we're on F3. We're taking out, let me see, supplementary regulations applying to B3 Retail Financial Professional District.
There's a couple
All
of things
loading and
Fran, on 4, isn't there's some strikeouts there, conform to Chapter 81 outdoor standards, and then.
yeah, I'm right above that, just the strikeout on according to the plan approved by the planning board. We're taking that out. I think that was an okay, right? Okay, next 4.
Right.
Done at 8:30.
Any use located on a lot, any lot line for which lies 25 feet of a residence district boundary shall be screened along
You'll see.
such lot line. The light shall be arranged according to Chapter 81 outdoor standards. And then we're taking out, so there will be no glare of lights because that's already in Chapter 81. So that's
fine.
coming out, okay. The following uses are expressly prohibited in this district. We're taking out, let me see. We're replacing, we have theaters and it said with, and we're saying theaters and other commercial amusements. So we're taking out restaurants and similar service establishments. So it's theaters and other commercial amusements. That stays, and we're taking out restaurants and similar service establishments. Now, the B3 is only M&T and the Nest, right, Marie?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, I need a space. That's good.
My recommendation is to delete amusement parks, circuses, and other commercial amusements because they're essentially covered in one.
Okay. No amusement parks, circuses, bowling alleys. I'm good with that.
Fine.
Me?
I'm sorry, Fran, I'm sorry.
Yes,
It says
okay,
prohibited,
right.
so they
Expressly
should
prohibited.
stay in. It should stay in.
Okay. Okay. All right, no motor vehicle and motor home sales to dealerships, no wholesale sales, no bulk storage, no noxious or offensive. Okay, now we're moving to the MU district, MU1 district, which used to be considered I1.
Sorry, no. I1 is being deleted.
Right, okay,
And
So
what
it's not-
what we're creating is a new district called MU1 mixed use.
okay. So 134 regulations for MU1 is, I1 is deleted. Everybody good with that? That's changed.
So
Following regular.
MU1 is going to be, like right now on our map, will be I1, or is there other pieces that will be also included?
No, just those that are currently I1. They will become MU1. I'm sorry, I take that back. The scenic Hudson property that goes from the Campbell Estate around the bend and to the Foundry Park, that will become PR1, Parks and Recreation 1. it is currently zoned I1 and I2, which is very confusing. Why you would have a parcel that is both I1 and I2 is beyond me. But that is one area that will become Parks and Recreation. Another area that will become Parks and Recreation that is currently in the I1 district, and I don't have a map.
That would be the ballpark, Mayor's Park.
Yes. Mayor's Park would become I1. I'm sorry, would become PR1.
Mhm.
So the Campbell, the house that is now built on the old Campbell estate, is that also considered MU1?
No, it's currently R3.
That's the R3 piece.
Right.
What was it? Was it I1?
No, it's R3.
It always had,
It's always been R3.
okay, I'm looking at a map that I don't see it on.
The Campbell property has been R3
I
since
see it.
zoning was originally implemented in
Gotcha.
1967.
All right, I'm looking at the wrong place. Gotcha. Okay, I know where it is, yeah. Mhm. Okay. So, on the MU1 district, site plan, following regulations will apply in MU1. The site plan review and approval in each case where a building or alteration or conversion is proposed. We're taking out or use.
Correct.
Building or alteration or conversion is proposed in this district. A site plan of the proposed building to the planning board for its review. No, proposing this, a site plan shall be submitted to the code enforcement officer who shall refer the site plan to the proposed building to the planning board. Okay. Then we have such board shall determine that all of the requirements of this chapter have been met, including the plan and standards required for site plan approval. We take out special use permits under 13416 B and E. All right, so including plan and standards required for the site plan approval. In each case, following the procedures required for approval of the site plan. So we're removing subdivisions at site plan under the village law. Okay. Permitted uses. Any use permitted in R1, one family district, excepting accessory apartments. Accessory apartments are not permitted in the MU1 district. Is this good with everybody?
What's the rationale on, I don't understand why is that there, Marie, or what was the conversation on that?
Yeah. The thinking there was that that in the MU1 district, which is a mix of different uses, that accessory apartments should not be permitted. The uses would be R1, single family, Village of Cold Spring, office buildings, which is 6. Sorry, if the thinking was that accessory apartments didn't fit in with the thinking about the MU1 district. Accessory apartments increase the density of people in a district, and that was not thought to be appropriate for the MU1 district.
I'm sorry, Marie, could you tell me again where the MU1s are? You said the Campbell, the property around the Campbell estate going around to the foundry?
No, no.
Okay.
Do you have the map, the colored map in front of you, Fran?
I do, but it's the old, it's.
Well,
Okay,
and
so-
on that one, the gray area to the right is I1 and I2.
Yeah,
So I think part of that or all of that's gonna, or what that's gonna be parks.
Right.
I1 is yellow, and there's just the two pieces we're looking at right now are the Carney property
okay,
Marathon.
which Marathon, okay.
and section of Rock Street.
A
And
section
Kemp.
of Broad Street, and then a section of Fair Street.
Section of Fair Street down where the new construction is, or where the Impel garage was?
It goes, yes, it goes from the Impel Garage all the way to Mayor's Park.
Okay, so,
Is that-
so,
For the MU3 though, is that going to be changed so it only goes to the end of Riverview?
I'd have to go back to my, there's a table that I put on Google. I can't remember what the municipal parking lot, the highway garage, whatever. I
Mhm.
forget what they are, whether or not they are in MU1 or whether they are in PR1.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to take a look at it.
okay.
so if they were to divide up the old battery factory plot into homesteads, they can't put any accessory apartments there
That's right.
unless we change that zoning to like R1 or R something, right?
I'm fine with the accepting accessory or the way it's
Okay.
written.
Yeah. Okay. And, okay, permitted uses, we're taking out cemeteries and mausoleum, thank you.
Yes,
We're not
we're
gonna
gonna
build-
take that out and delete 3. Okay, good.
Got it.
And buildings for display, yeah,
And then we're, one-story buildings for display, that's all coming out.
Yeah.
And sale of agriculture and nursery products, that's good.
that's a holdover from I1. And the one dwelling unit for the caretaker, that comes out.
That would have been with the cemetery.
No, actually, that was for industrial uses where you would have a caretaker, a watchman, whatever.
All right, give me a second here, let me get this lined up again. Okay, and then permitted use, office buildings. No, I need some space here. Office buildings for editorial, business and professional offices and research and design.
The
And to
thinking,
take out design including, go ahead, Mary.
so the thinking was that in the MU1 district, it would be a combination of residences, and what you're going to be encountering next is live work units, where you could have a structure that contains both the living space for someone and the first floor, which would be on the upper floor. And the first floor would be their workspace, whether their workspace was making something or their workspace was, let me think what else. A craft of some sort,
Studio?
a studio, yes, and you could permit sales in that space as well.
Okay, didn't someone come and ask us a couple of years back if we had any space for something like that on Main Street? Trying to remember. Anyway, immaterial. So for example, a studio, like the old Impel Garage is now going to be a studio and a residence.
It's going to be a studio and a residence, right? Right. Fran, could
Yeah.
you take, on 2, could you take amended out of there, that whole amended section?
Sure.
And the same thing in 3, if you would take out the amended. Whoops, right.
That's okay. Yeah, if my screen would stay where I want it to be. There we go.
Mine's not jumping.
What did I do here? Okay, I just need to delete that. Okay. So office buildings for editorial, we're okay with adding design and getting rid of design, including incidental clinics, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Okay,
And
so
then,
manufacturing, assembly, and so on,
sorry,
lumber
could you,
buildings and,
can you take the left bracket up? Thank you.
got it. So then we're taking out permitted use, manufacturing, assembly, operations, et cetera,
Those-
lumber and
those-
building materials,
Those are all leftovers from I1,
right? Okay, and the lumber and building.
Yep.
um,
from I1.
And we're leaving live work units, including attendance, sales of work output, is that correct?
Yes, that should be number 4.
Okay, let me just, not what I wanted. Okay, and professional office service.
Yeah, this, as it turns out, that is uh, we've already said that, professional offices. So,
So do we want to leave that in? Do we want to take it out?
well, professional offices are already in. I would take out office / professional services, retail, and recreational uses and facilities. So professional services,
Take out the office?
yeah,
Okay. Professional office, professional services,
says
retail
plural.
and recreational services. Okay, and then this has to be renumbered. Conversion of a first floor commercial, professional, or retail space to residential use is prohibited.
This is
Yeah, I
this
think-
is the same as you saw in B1 and B2.
Okay. And in addition, existing storefront, glass areas,
The whole thing is the same as
the
in
same,
B1 and B2.
that's the same. And commercial amusement venues are permitted.
Yeah,
On number 7, Marie, like in B1, the conversions, because it's commercial right now, but if there's nothing being built or they want to build something there, they can build residential on the first floor?
yes,
Okay,
yes, they can. It's once something is already built,
right.
you
Okay,
can't.
got you.
And then signs accessory
So-
to an established, sorry, Marie.
Do you want to leave commercial amusement venues in there as a permitted use? Think theater, think whether it's a movie theater or a performing arts theater, or, I'm sorry, commercial bowling alleys, paintball.
Okay, all right, where are we thinking again? We're thinking marathon, we're thinking,
Basically marathon, you should think about.
Yes, you're right.
so you're talking bowling alley, theater.
Paintball,
You know what,
arcade.
if it was properly placed, I think that would be nice there.
What about a
No.
swimming pool?
Pardon me?
You can't put one there.
Swimming pool.
You can't put it there. I don't think we can dig down there, right?
No, not yet.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
The thing to
Maybe in 200 years.
the thing to remember about marathon is the issue will be ingress and egress.
Right. The other thing is, what is the zoning size? So if somebody were to build residences there, what is the lot size versus if somebody wanted to build a theater there? Is
Okay,
it the same
Well-
lot size?
scroll down. You
Okay,
have to
wait.
scroll down to
I'll wait
minimum-
patiently. I'll wait
minimum and maximum.
till we get there. I'll wait patiently. So let me just look at number 9, signs accessories to an establishment located on the same lot provided. That's fine, okay. So then we're deleting the sign, all the sign junk because we're referring to 104.
Right.
Okay. Uses under special use, manufacturing, assembling, other operation will not create any dangerous.
What did we do with number 8? Do we make a decision on that?
Oh, I'm waiting to see about this size, the lot
Okay, sorry.
sizes.
I think Marie's point is the one that I would make. It would be great to have a theater or something down there, but even a restaurant's going to be problematic. But I think just having buildings down there with houses and people in them is going to be problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, more so, I would think.
How big is that lot? Do we have any idea?
It's about 14 acres.
Okay,
And
in my mind.
it's not a single lot. It's about 25 lots.
Oh, it is already divided? It's 25 lots?
Yeah, there's one big lot and then there's about 20 little lots.
And the lots that are in there conform to whatever the size of the lot should be?
No,
Oh, they don't. But if we lower these numbers, then they will conform?
I think what will happen, if you ask me, I think that the owner will submit a request to merge the lots. And then we'll subdivide it as the owner sees appropriate. That's what I guess would happen.
All right. Let me back up. Special uses under special permit, manufacturing, assembly, so on and so forth. Which operation will not create any dangerous, noxious, explosive, radioactive, or other hazard. Yeah, we went through all that already. Okay, so that's okay. All applications for building permits shall be referred to the planning board as set forth above. That's okay with everybody?
Mm.
Okay, okay, here we come. Minimum requirements.
The numbers that you see crossed out are the numbers from I-1.
Okay,
I just used I-1 as a boilerplate for this.
so currently
This
the,
doesn't exist. Currently,
Right, this-
MU1
okay.
does not exist.
okay, so if we do want to, I have to get my head around this. Lot area, 10,000 square feet with 7,500 depth.
With 75 feet wide,
75 feet, okay.
100
So
feet
that's-
deep,
So
front
that's
yard.
the same as a R1 district.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's the minimum required.
right.
What's different here is the front yard. The front yard is identified as a 5-foot front yard.
Now,
And the side yards, currently in R1, a side yard is 10 feet minimum with 20 feet for both.
Why, how are these numbers coming up? Or what was the discussion on these, or how did we,
Yeah.
you
Well-
guys decide on this?
Yeah, the 5 yard, the thinking here was that what we wanted to do is to create more of a character of most of the village, the older part of the village, where the front yards were smaller and side yards could also be smaller.
Can there be, all right, I'm trying to picture, so if somebody's got 75 by 100 and their houses face on Kimball Avenue, then is there another row of houses back to them facing on Constitution? Well, those are already,
No, there's no, the property doesn't come anywhere close to
so we'd
Constitution.
have to create some streets.
Yes, that's part of the site plan. If the owner decides to subdivide a large parcel that currently exists, they would have to create roads, sidewalks, etc.
And they'd have to hook into the water and the sewer and the, et
Well,
cetera.
there's actually water already there, and I suspect there's sewer already there. Marathon had that.
Minimum lot, 10,000 square feet, 75 by 100.
Right. Currently, the lot width and lot depth are 75 in R1.
I thought they were 7,500. And what's the front setback in R1?
25.
So we're giving them 5?
Yep. The thinking here was that the properties would be closer to the street, not as suburban as the current zoning code of 25 feet.
It's hard to, because we don't know how this property we broke up to actually, to visualize what that'll even look like. and if that will
Yeah.
actually do what you're anticipating it to do, or what you'd like it to do, to make it look more like,
5 feet seems very small to me for a front yard.
Well,
I mean,
would you
although
say-
mine's probably not much more than that.
So how about 10 feet?
I think I could go with 10 if we're putting houses there. So I have another question, backing up for a second. If we decide, or if the owner decides he wants to put a theater there, how does the zoning, how does the lot size get affected? Or I know this is a minimum, so it's
Right.
up to the planning board to determine?
Yes. Yes.
So you can't really fit is it a 35% lot coverage?
If you'll go down a little bit, it'll show you that it's 30% for residential use, 30% for business use, and mixed use 50%. You will have seen the email from Michael Reisman, who disagrees with the mixed use. Michael was on the code update committee.
And
He believes that for mixed use, it should be closer to, well, I'll let you read the letter, but he believes that 50% is too high.
Okay, so I gotta go find, I know you've referred us to that, but I haven't looked at it yet, so.
Google, on the Google Drive.
I know it is, I've seen it. It's like 4 pages or something.
So if you go back up then, we were talking about the front yard size.
Right.
Do you want to go with 10 feet instead of 5?
I mean, I'm comfortable with 10, and I don't know if anybody else.
I'm more
doing
comfortable
all-
with that than 5. I agree with
Anybody
that.
else? Anybody else?
I agree.
Steve? Okay,
Okay, so we're gonna make this 10 and make this, and I know I screwed this up, but anyway.
So was the
Okay.
code update committee really mad at Mr. Reisman for his dissent? I just want to know what's going to happen to us now.
Oh, come on, Dave. Chicken.
Michael could not get a majority of the code update committee to agree with the 30%, primarily because at the time that the vote was taken, we had 3 members left, and one of the 3 members was not present when the conversation occurred about the 50%. So we left it as it was, at 50%. I suggested to Mike that he write a letter to the village board identifying his objection.
Okay, so this becomes 10.
This seems like a good time to stop tonight.
Yes, agreed.
Right.
Just, Fran, can you accept the changes in parentheses 1 and parentheses 2?
Sure, the 10,000.
Yeah,
Um,
1, 2, and 3.
Let me get up here. That goes okay. $75, $75. Okay, and that should do that.
Okay, so.
Okay,
at
so
our-
we are,
At our next meeting, we'll start out with MU1D5. When do you want the next meeting to be?
next Tuesday. Next Tuesday's not a scheduled meeting. You want to do it next Tuesday?
That's fine with me.
Good with me.
Me too.
Fine.
Works. Okay, so the 29th at 6:30. Works for me. MU1D5 to begin.
I have
It's been lovely.
I have one thing I got to talk about before we end the meeting, but if that's what we're doing right this minute. So we scheduled a meeting for next week, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay. The fire company, or Matt Stelz, the president, sent me an email about Haldane wants to let the art classes paint, the windows that are sealed up on Church Street, that
Yeah,
fire company building.
yeah.
The Haldane school wants their art classes to paint things in those windows. Don't know what, they just want to use it to,
But we told them for the subways to just let's come up with the drawings or whatever they want to do there and present them to the board.
okay, well, I'll let Matt know that, and then,
I
Okay.
think that if everyone agrees, I don't know if people want them to paint on there.
I
I
think they
don't
should
know, it
put the-
looks better than it does now.
I think they should put the windows back, but that's me.
Well, yeah,
I agree.
Haldane should pay for that, yeah.
Now,
They could paint windows on.
yeah,
Well, that's, I don't know, I assume they're gonna do something like that, but,
Is the fire company okay with that?
yeah, he sent an email to see if it was okay with us, so.
It's our building.
yeah, I have no problem, as long as we see it. Have we seen anything about the tree down at,
Put 'em in.
down Lund Terrace, they have the tree on Main Street? You
Still
know, the
there.
carving? It's still there.
I gotta
Okay,
touch
Gotten
base-
some submissions.
I gotta touch base with Jen. That has to come down. That's a liability,
Yeah.
sure. Anyway.
All right,
we
I'll
said-
let them know.
Yeah, let him know. Just tell them they come up with a proposal and drawings. That's what they did last time. It worked out really well. So
Yeah, maybe we can have a meeting in person for that.
what's that?
So maybe we can have a meeting in person for that.
Yeah, exactly. That would be fun.
Crazy.
Not next Tuesday.
No, I don't think so. They don't move that fast. I just want to let them know.
okay.
All right. Thanks everybody for all your time.
Thank you,
Make a,
everyone.
make a
Motion.
motion to adjourn.
I will second. All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Night, everyone.
good night.
Good night,
Good
all.
night.